Yeah, difficult loss, and congratulations to Louisville and Coach Satterfield. As I've shared before, yeah, games are broken down after the whole thing into just a number of plays, and I think this is similar. We had 3 assignment mistakes defensively, one on the very first really long touchdown run. There was an assignment mistake there, a second one on about the 40-yard run, and then another one on their last touchdown run. And so there was some option concepts, and so our assignments in those settings allowed some yardage and points to occur. The other thing to add defensively is there was a drive where we had them on the 9-yard line, and they ended up scoring on that drive. The number of third downs we had, which is normally a strong point for us, we didn't play well on third down, and ultimately that drive, I think, was certainly impacted the game. So if you take the entire defensive day and kind of shrink it down to a drive and those number of plays, I'd say that would be an influencer there. And then offensively, the turnovers right before half, the interception, Joe Reed's turnover, or the fumble there in a game that's close and contested, you can't have, if you lose the turnover battle and you have assignment mistakes defensively, then that really determines outcome. So we played just well enough, reminiscent of Miami, to throw a ball in the end zone at the end. But we didn't make enough plays. And obviously I haven't coached our team well enough to make enough plays in the settings yet on the road to compensate for being away from home. Yeah, so other than that, I thought our team competed hard, just didn't make enough plays to win the game.
We'll start over here with Jeff.
You mentioned the drive, the third down conversions. Jordan ultimately gets ejected for targeting.
That's right, that was on that drive as well.
Did the game kind of changed on that drive? It seemed like momentum really swung.
Yeah, it certainly influenced the game, and so it's uncharacteristic to give up the third down conversions that we did on the same drive, and then when Jordan went out on that same drive and it's a 15-yard penalty, it hurt.
Completion too.
Exactly, and so those are that was a tough stretch for us.
Doug and Mike.
Regarding Jordan's disqualification, there'd been a replay earlier of a hit, and he had gotten off of that. What did you see in the 2 plays, and does he need to think about that more in the future? Or?
Oh, it's tough. I was standing right with the officials, and as the replay's happening, they're saying we don't see it, and then it's called or it was confirmed, and so even within crew to crew, game to game, and so I'll have to do a better job coaching it to where he's not close. I want aggressive play, and I want the quarterback sacked. I didn't think there was anything malicious or intentional, and his goal or objective wasn't to target. And I thought he hit him in the shoulder. I thought his head was up enough, and it's what I'm coaching him to do.
How much does that hurt you the rest of the night?
It hurts because he's one of our best players and a captain, so certainly it hurts.
Quick evaluation of Bryce. Obviously wasn't any tape or anything, but he seemed a little shaky throwing the ball, and there were 2 or 3 other passes that were in jeopardy, not just one that was picked. What was your immediate evaluation?
It wasn't. It didn't ever seem like we found our rhythm offensively, and could add the consistency needed just to move the ball and kind of take over the game. And so, every play goes through the quarterback. That's part of, the position, but certainly the ability to score points and move the ball consistently, especially against a team that had struggled a little bit defensively. I think we all expected to have more success.
And protection-wise, did it seem like that group in front of them took a step backward?
It seemed about the same to me from just the sideline.
Jeff and Hootie.
How much when he got shaken up early in the game and came out and holding his knee, how much did that affect how we could use him going forward. Did not seem to be the called runs that there were a week ago.
Yeah, that certainly affected him and kind of changed the plan to what it was prior to Brennan coming back
Jerry?
in terms of run options.
What was your game plan? Did you feel like you'd be able to run the ball more effectively today?
Yeah, we certainly did, and we certainly thought it would yield more points. And so, yeah, Bryce's injury early on had some impact, but yeah, I was surprised we weren't able to control the ball more, move the ball more, and maintain momentum.
Louisville kind of switched from Conley to Cunningham. What were the kind of problems that they presented, and what made Cunningham so effective in the second half?
Oh, it's just his speed and his ability to run, and so a little bit more option, a little bit more scramble with a dynamic speed that's, I think, just gives a little extra burst and a little more impact it reduces your margin for error, and he can make one guy miss frequently. That's what he did.
He had Louisville, I think 3 times in the second quarter, they started the possessions inside their 10-yard line to only be up 7 points at that point. Was that something you thought you should have been up more?
Sure. Yeah, we had the field position and things were going really well from that standpoint. We weren't scoring, and again, we had an opportunity right before half, and then there was an interception in the end zone, and we left points out there on that play.
Mike, we've asked you so many times about people kicking to Joe, and tonight they went with the sky kick away from him. I didn't notice, did you switch Tavares in, or did he start the game there, and how do you think he handled it?
No, we had Chris Sharp in to begin with, and we anticipated they would kick to him, and we had a reverse called, which worked really well. And so we did a nice job on that play. And then Tavares is our second returner in terms of impact or in terms of who we want to receive the ball on kick returns. And so he had his opportunity knowing that they'd kick away from Joe. And so I thought our kick returns were effective. I certainly thought our onside kick was strong, and I thought Nash Griffin on the one punt flipped the field. That was amazing. So they did have one effective punt return that switched the field one time as well, but I thought overall our special teams were fairly strong.
How is Perkins doing? Is his leg okay? I know he went out with
Yeah, I'm not sure what percentage he is, but he came back in and he played hard. So, but I don't know how close to 100% he is.
On the onside kick, was there anything you saw on the tape for Louisville against Wake that you guys worked on, in preparation for that, or?
We certainly acknowledged and watched it, but we just used the onside kick that we practice most, and that think we had the best chance at getting. That's the one we used. It wasn't specific to Louisville.
On the, I think, second to last drive, or maybe third to last, on the 3rd and 1, was Jana always the first option kind of down the field, or were there things underneath that were covered up?
Yeah, both. There was a first threat or a first option, and then there's always a second and a third, and they defended those well.
Take a last question from Mike.
With Jordan out now for the first half of it, Nick, where's your level of confidence in him? What did you see tonight, and how ready do you think he is for that role?
I think he's ready. He certainly won't be Jordan Mack, but he'll be ready, and he's capable, and we trust him, and we really like what his future looks like with us. So yeah, we're confident.